After waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and waiting a little more, we finally gotten our Tears of the Kingdom footage. And for what it's worth, I'd say it was pretty good. It was pretty solid. I have a few thoughts about it, so I figured we'd do a quick just run through things and I'd just kind of give my opinion over everything we saw. If you're new to the channel, enjoy the video, remember to hit that like button, and yeah, do that too, that's kind of important. The first thing Mr. Aonuma tells us is the game's complete. This doesn't really come as a surprise to anyone. It was rated a few months ago. The delay wasn't expected, and it's just good to know that the game is on track for its May release. This beginning, I'll admit, got me a little worried initially. These first couple of seconds really just look like Breath of the Wild, but as we soon see here in a few minutes, that's very obviously not the case. And even right here, he shows off the Sky Island. You know, we're clearly about to get to the good stuff. By that, I mean we can see right here that there is a traveling Korok of sorts with a backpack. That is adorable. I love him. Past this stable, nothing too special. There's a dog. And now right here, this initially caught my eye, and I don't think I've seen many other people talk about it, and I'll zoom in on it. We see this green swirly thing that we get a better angle at here in a few seconds. I'll just go ahead and go to it. So right here, we can see it again. This, and this is purely speculation, this kind of looks like this game's version of Shrines, maybe? I'm not entirely sure, but it is neat to see. I know we've seen it at least in one other trailer to my knowledge, but definitely something cool and new that he doesn't really talk about. This seems to be one of the primary ways to get up to these Sky Islands via this recall feature where you can go up to any item that's been activated within the physics engine. You're effectively turning time back to go to its initial position, which I think is really cool, and I kind of hope there's a way to also just kind of shoot objects off, which we could do with stasis in the prior game, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. And here we are, Sky Island. This is really neat, and I'm glad they've gone out of their way to give each of them their own biome. That was something I was worried about, that each of them would just be like an ancient temple, stone, nothing super special. That's kind of what it looked like in previous trailers, but it's good to see here that it's going to have its own like foliage and its own pickups, and here we'll see in a few seconds it looks like its own enemies as well. We see a brand new enemy called a construct, and you'll see here in a few seconds this does confirm the long-standing theory that the Zonai, which were like a prehistoric tribe of sorts, I think, are in fact involved in the story or the plot to some degree. So it's cool to see something that has long been like a conspiracy of sorts actually confirmed. You can see right there, Zonai charge. This is probably the most interesting new mechanic shown off that we kind of had a hint at in previous trailers, but it wasn't outright confirmed, and that was this fusion mechanic, where he just combines the stick and the boulder into its own hammer of sorts, which is just the most fascinating game mechanic I've seen in a long time. That is such a neat, spin on crafting, which we see a lot of in today's day of age, especially with a game like Minecraft, which has become uber popular in the last few years. This is just such a neat spin on the Breath of the Wild formula. And as he goes throughout this gameplay demo, it's shown that it seems like pretty much any weapon can be combined with other weapons, or also into other objects that interact with the Breath of the Wild, with Tears of the Kingdom's physics engine. He kind of shows it off here as well. The fusion, even if it's something seemingly useless, like just making a pitchfork longer, you can still do it. It's not limiting you, which I think is really neat, because a lot of games with their crafting abilities will limit you. Like, yeah, you could do that, but why would you? You're not going to need it, so why would you do it? In this game's case, it's just kind of letting you go crazy with it. You can literally do whatever you want with any of the objects and any of the weapons. And here's, in my opinion, I think the part that fascinated me the most is that this fusion mechanic also works with arrows, and we see it here. He'll open up his inventory, and this seems to be the replacement for elemental arrows like ice arrows or fire arrows. You can just kind of combine anything you pick up into the arrows. So instead of using these for heals, potions, or whatever, they now have a secondary use in crafting, which I think is really neat. And crafting also fixes one of the bigger issues that people had with Breath of the Wild, where the durability of a weapon would rapidly decrease if you used it a lot. I personally didn't have a problem with that feature. I thought it was a neat mechanic that forced you to experiment with other weapons. This is cool because it will allow you to essentially give these weapons new life while still also forcing you to try new things. We could see here he uses an ice element in an arrow to turn into an ice arrow. So, you know, maybe we have elemental arrows, maybe we don't, who knows. We saw this one in a previous trailer that's incredibly cool. This homing arrow. He uses an eyeball, shoots it just kind of close to it, and immediately goes to it. It's so cool. And he does it again here with this bird, just boom. This game is going to be something special. I think we all knew that from the beginning, because Breath of the Wild is already, you know, a masterpiece in its own right. And I think a lot of us, myself included, were worried that it wasn't going to be able to create its own identity. But I think after seeing this gameplay demo and after seeing a little more of this, like fusing this mushroom to a shield, I think this game will very much be a Majora's Mask to the Ocarina of Time, where it is, despite being its own engine and being in a similar world with the same character, it's still going to be its own game. The highlight for a lot of people here will of course be the section where he talks about making your own vehicles. All you have to do is pick up the logs, combine them, and then put fans on them, and boom, you've got a working boat. That's crazy. And the possibilities with this, as he shows with another raft here in a bit, are insane. And I mean, the ideas I have just looking at this already are just kind of going all sorts of crazy. Like, can I put these on rocks? Can I force a rock to roll down a hill super fast? Like, the possibilities are seemingly limitless. This is kind of the last thing he shows. We get a look at the mechanic that I believe was shown the initial trailer back in 2021 at E3, where he shoots through the ceiling of this like temple structure. Really cool. I'll be honest, it doesn't really seem practical. It seems like it'll only be useful in specific scenarios, but I don't know. It's just Nintendo. I'm sure they'll surprise us. Even the enemies are gonna have their own like fused weapons, which I think is neat. Here, we see him falling off. He does the dive, and here we get a pretty cool sweep of Hyrule. We see a couple of new things. That tower over there is new. Obviously, that big sign in the ground is new. This game, I think, is going to be really good. I mean, there was never any doubt, but all the new stuff they're doing, all the new stuff they have yet to show us that they're hiding from us, the juicy stuff that we know is going to be good, this game is going to be something special. Now, whether or not it's worth $70 might be a conversation for another day, but overall, I'm feeling incredibly good about Tears of the Kingdom. Obviously, there's still questions and concerns, but I think the showing from Nintendo today was incredibly strong, and honestly, this is all we really need to see. We don't need to see any more gameplay. We still have about a month and a half left to go until the game comes out, so we're probably going to get a little bit more footage, but like, I'm good. I'm sold. I mean, I was sold ages ago, but that definitely helped sell me a little bit more. Oh, and of course, we do also have the Switch. Super cool throwback to back when they used to have golden controllers like on the Wii. So really neat. I'm picking it up, even though I already have an OLED, because I'm a sucker for nerdy stuff like this. But overall, I feel super confident with this gameplay demo. This game looks fantastic. There was no doubt that it was going to be fantastic, because it's just more Breath of the Wild. Even if they didn't add a bunch of new stuff like they did here, Breath of the Wild on its own is already a fantastic enough game where they could literally just add a bunch of new shrines or whatever and people would be happy. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy that gameplay demo? Leave a comment down below. And hey, while you're at it, maybe go ahead and like the video too. It'll be much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a bit.